How's everybody doing? Everybody good? That's all right. How's everybody doing? Everybody good? Come on. Move a little bit. Give me some energy. Give me something to work with, something to start with. I mean, I'll bring it all to the table if I have to, but it's always a little easier if you give me something to work with. All right. Today we have today we've got a hodgepodge of information to start with, and then we have a guest from Power Solar that's going to talk about solar panels, solar systems, benefits to your clients, answer some questions about that. So we're going to try and debunk some myths and get you some information. Your people are looking at it already. They're already looking. They're already asking. So why don't you be a resource that can help them and connect them with somebody in the business who's going to shoot them straight and tell them the truth. So I'm going to jump in and share my screen, go right to our presentation to get started here. This month, for the whole month of November, we got Survey Eagle property inspections, $450 for any inspection. Size doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how big, how small, townhouse, condo, does not matter. He's doing $450 for any property. All inspections included, 4-point wind mitt and your property inspection. So give them a call if you have a buyer that's needing any inspections. You can schedule online. He can get out there as quickly as the next day, and we'll make some accommodations to make sure that your buyer gets whatever they need done. Before we jump in any further, I want to really quickly just clarify some roles here so everybody has a full understanding of everybody's role. I mean, everybody knows my role between the two offices, but there's been some questions about different positions and how they fill in and who do you go to for what. So I just want to clarify a few points here. Jimmy, Susie, and Rosa are all acting in the same fashion as I am, as basically as in management style, management capacity. They have their own roles that they will fill to help you out with in any way. But if you have any questions, any issues, any concerns, you're more than welcome to come to me, to Rosa, to Susie, to Jimmy for anything. They will help make sure that you get directed to whatever you need. Continue to reach out to whoever you've been calling, call, text, email, whatever you'd like to do. But just to clarify, for those of you who have any questions, Jimmy can act in the same capacity that I do as far as approving and making decisions. If he needs any other further help, he'll definitely reach out. Susie, the same way. Susie's the person that gets every single one of you started when you get onboarded. She's the one who gets you into all the systems. She has basically the keys to the closet, and she knows everything that needs to be done on the Century 21 side, and she's an active agent as well. And then Rosa, to be absolutely straightforward, I trust all three of these people implicitly with any decision that they make, and I never question anything. And if they do, there's always a nice open conversation. So I would ask you to give them that same level of trust. If you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, please bring it to any one of us. We're all more than willing and welcoming to any comments, feedback, or anything. We really do welcome that, and we really welcome you to come in for anything that you have. So please make sure that you're utilizing the tools that you have. For those of you who have not, 121 in Las Vegas is March 23rd to the 26th. If you're looking to get away, to get a little bit of training, but also to get a little bit of relaxation and downtime as well. Not really in Vegas, but hey, if you want to come, the rooms at the Caesars Palace where it's held are booked out already, but there are multiple rooms across the street and right next door. So, and it's very close. It's literally right across the street that you can book. For master's level and up, we will pay for your pass. We already have all the passes that we booked out already claimed, but if you tell us you're going, we'll make sure we get a pass for you as well. But you have to let us know. The commercial class, if you're interested in commercial, a lot of you had reached out on Thursday at 11 a.m. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about commercial, there's going to be an hour-long class from Craig Workman from Century 21 Corporate doing an introduction, talking to you about commercial. He wanted to open this up because it's kind of difficult to get into commercial for some people because they don't know who to go to, who to ask, what class I need to go to, what course I need to do. This is going to answer some questions and help give you at least a little bit of a foot in the door and maybe help answer a few questions that you may have about it. Yeah, don't sit down, just stay here. All right, real quickly, I want to show you something really briefly just to help you understand your position in a transaction. So I want you to pay attention very closely to what I do and what I say or don't say, okay? Can I get to there? If you're online, just pay attention, watch very closely, okay? Everybody paying attention? Everybody paying attention? Everybody paying attention? No. Okay, good. Everybody watch. For those of you who can't see on screen, we're just walking around the room. Okay. Everybody watching? All right. Who saw what happened? Anybody have any input or feedback on what happened? Huh? I walked him through a transaction. What did I say? I know I was talking to you guys, but what did I say to him? What do we typically use to try and communicate with people? Words. What did I say to him? What did he do? Everything I wanted him to do. What did I do? Aligned with him. I used my body language. I used eye contact if I needed it when I wanted him to come across the room. I aligned with him. What happened when I put my hand up and pushed? He resisted. So think of this in sales terms. If you want to influence somebody and lead somebody, align with them. Don't tell them what to do. If I tell someone what to do and put pressure on them, what do? Resist. It's a natural instinct, right? What happens when you walk into a store? You walked into that store knowing exactly what you wanted, the pair of pants that shirt was going to go with, the shoes you were going to wear with that color shirt that you were looking for, exactly how you want, with sleeves, without sleeves, how many buttons, how it was going to go, off the shoulder, over, whatever it is. You knew exactly what you wanted when you walked into the store, right? And when that person asked you, "Hi, how you doing today? What can I help you with? What'd you come in for?" What'd you say? No. You didn't even answer the dang question. You just said no. They didn't even ask you a yes or no question. You said no. Because there was pressure and you resisted, and you have a reflexive no to any time that you have a sale. So what are some of the sales skills that you can use to connect with people to try and lead them? Crickets, please. Thank you. What are some of the sales skills that you can use to connect with people, to lead them, to build rapport? There you go. Thank you. Mirror matching. Ask them. Well, no, we're not using words yet. Not yet. But what are some of the things you can do right off the bat? Mirror and matching. What would you mirror and match? Body language with body language. Tonality also with words. Eye contact. Tonality, tempo, speed, things like that. The words that they use. So use your body language when you're trying to connect with somebody. If you have somebody that's seeming a little frail, don't walk in like you're king salesperson. I got this. You're going to have to play a little frail. You're going to have to play to them, because people like people who are like themselves. Who is the most safe person in anybody's world? Me. I'm the safest person in my world. I know everything about me. I know what I'll do, what I won't do, what I'll say, what I won't say, how I'll do it, when it'll happen. I know everything about me, and I'm the safest person in my world. So if I meet somebody who is inherently like me, do I like them or dislike them? It may depend on the day, I guess. But do I like or dislike them? You like them, right? And do you trust them or not trust them? So if you start to see that there's somebody that's like you, so if you can mirror and match anything that you can find about somebody, you're going to connect with them and align with them and give you the ability to influence them a little bit more without saying a word. You already have and are exerting a bit of influence over them. Then when you use words, Daryl, then what do? Like you said about 5 minutes. Ask questions. There you go. Thank you. Ask questions, because when you ask questions, now you're getting more of them. Ask questions, and then do me a favor. After you ask a question, shut up. After you ask, stop talking. Let them answer. Let them finish. And when they finish, repeat it back to them so they know that you understood. Then ask them another question. People like to hear themselves talk. And when no one's talking, that deafening silence that you hear, guess what? They hear it too. They hear the same silence. Let them fill that silence. And if you do want to say something, ask another question or a better qualifying question over the one that you just asked and let them talk. So just a simple thing to think about when trying to build influence and connect with people. Use all of the skills that you have, mirror and matching, rapport building skills, without ever saying a word. Most of us are going to walk in and try and use words to do. Hi, how you doing? Come here often? Where you been? Can I buy you a drink? What's your name? What are you wearing? I like your dress. They're trying to use any of those things. And what does it always come, ladies, what does it always come across as when a guy walks up to you at a bar and starts that kind of whole thing? Creepy, right? A little creepy. You're like, oh God, another one over there. But what if you already somehow felt some type of connection with them from across the room already, and you don't know how, you don't know why. And we're using mirror and matching and things like that to build that connection. You'll get more in common with somebody. 738-55. 7%. Don't worry, I won't tell your husband you're going out to the bar meeting, guys. Hi, John. So 738-55. 7% of your connection and communication with somebody is just the words typed, emailed, text. 38% is the tonality and the inflection. And then 55% is your body language that you can use to connect with them. So you get more in common with somebody using your body language than you ever will with words. So just keep that in mind. And then we'll jump back in and a couple quick things. Moxie classes, you've got a ton of emails about these reminders. It's that important. So just keep paying attention. Here's the dates. We are doing this Friday, the 11th at 3 in Sun City office. We're doing a Moxie happy hour. And then Moxie Engage, the dates, February 17th and March 3rd for Moxie website. So just pay attention to those. You'll have invites as they come up. We'll make sure we get those to you. And then next month, we're doing some of the follow-ups on there. And then there, I'm going to jump in and we'll bring up our guest with Power Solar. Can you grab the mic, please? Josh, come on up. Josh is actually a personal friend of mine. How long? Like 10 years I've known, 11, right? So I've known Josh. The mic you're going to, when you do talk, you'll need to hold it close. Josh is a personal friend of mine. He's been in the solar business for quite a while. I'll let him tell you a little bit more about that. But if you guys want any information and want somebody who's going to shoot you straight and tell you the honest truth and talk to your client and tell you this makes sense, this doesn't make sense, here's where this is, here's where that is. You have any questions? This is really the guy to reach out to and ask. If you want someone in that field, I would use him as a resource. He's a great guy. He's very trustworthy and very honest, and he's going to shoot you straight. So I'll let you go from there to kind of tell us a little bit about who you are, the company you work with, and what kind of benefits you can bring.
I appreciate that, Chris. Actually,
you gotta hold that up. Yeah.
I've put in probably 150 to 200 systems. I really enjoy what I do. I get to, like Chris said, I get to be very honest with people. I don't have to pull that salesy stuff. I can just answer questions.
You gotta hold them. You're gonna have to hold the mic.
I'm gonna have to hold it right here. Okay.
Yeah. It's got to be right. It's got to be right up okay. Up out of the mouth.
So I mean, yeah, I can really just answer questions. It's really nice. People can just use me as a resource. I consider myself a consultant.
Yep. It's got to stay.
It's got to stay. It's got to stay.
It's
yeah. But
it's got to be. Let's see how this hasn't moved.
Okay, yeah. All right.
And it's a shotgun, so it'll go straight up at you.
Okay. I work for Power. Power is one of the largest residential solar installers in the nation. Last year, we did roughly 2% of the installs in the United States. We're in 14 different states. We were founded back in 2015, and we are a certified B company, which means we are required by our bylaws and by law to do good for the environment. So basically, we deal with carbon offset, non-for-profits, and we offset the carbon that is actually produced during our production, during our installs, and actually we go as far as producing or offsetting the carbon that goes through the production manufacturing of the panels themselves. So I'm actually very, very proud to work for this company. We are rated very, very highly. We have A+ on Better Business Bureau. We are 5-star with Yelp, 4.8, 4.9, and Google, Facebook. Pretty much across the board, we're up in the 4.9s, 4.8s. So I've been very impressed. I have worked for other solar companies. This one I am the most impressed with, how they handle their customers, the streamlined process. Now, what I'm sure most of you guys are more interested in, our company does do a lot for anybody that refers customers to us. It's called the Ambassador Program. It is $1,000 if one of your referrals installs, and it does not matter how many you bring. Now, also just for more things that you might be interested in, solar, what it does for the home. why most people are looking into it, especially now more than ever, is the benefits that come with solar is right now, basically, whether you're TECO, FPL, Duke, whatever happens to be your electric company, when you are buying electricity from them, inherently you are paying them to produce your electricity. That is the truest form of a bill. You can never get that money back. The money doesn't go into your home. It just goes straight out to them. You will pay whatever rates they want you to pay. Typically, over the last 20 years, as a general rule of thumb, they have gone up 4% per year, even though this year TECO went up 18%, FPL will go up 20% over the next 3 to 4 years, I believe is what they passed. So you're just going to pay whatever they want. With solar, I don't deal with leasing programs, we deal with owning programs. That is the most beneficial for a homeowner. When they own a solar system, we are replacing their bill. They're no longer buying their electricity from the electric company. They are just turning around and taking that money and putting it towards an investment on their home. Because the system is installed as a permanent installation on your home, it does add value to the home. The most recent study that is the most reputable was done by Zillow. They looked at all the homes that sold with solar compared to comps in the area over the nation. They found an average of a 4.1% increase selling price of homes with solar compared to the comps in the area.
And while on that same note, just to back that up, I've had 2 appraisers in the last 6 months that have come out and appraised a property that had solar that I had listed. And both of them said that same exact thing. It said right now in this area, what I've been able to find is that solar adds an increase of value of about 4% to 4.5% over a home that doesn't have it. So yes, they may have paid X for it, but they're going to get about a 4% increase that I can put on it for the appraisal. But I will tell you this, that every single one of them that had solar that sold for probably about 5 to 7% more than what the market would bear for that home that it didn't have solar. So the same exact home sold for about 5 to 7% less when it didn't have solar. So that's right in line with what the appraisers are doing as well. And just so you know, they don't have a guideline for solar in their appraisal book. It doesn't say this is how much you add. It doesn't say this is how much you depreciate or appreciate it. They don't have that. It's up to them to make that determination. So taking some of this information to an appraiser, if you have solar on there, and letting them know that this is what you're seeing, this is the stats that are out there, it might make a big difference for them.
Also, I haven't found consensus when it comes to articles, but I've seen
Keep that
articles talking about how much faster a home will actually sell for. And I've seen anywhere ranging between 20 and 45% faster depending on the market. So you're basically in home terms, you are basically taking the money from rent and putting it towards a mortgage. Basically, you're taking the money from your bill, putting it back towards your home. You're also going to do well for the environment. And a lot of times at least with the solar systems I sell, they all come with 30-year warranties backed by what they call Solar Insure. It's the #1 insurance company for solar in the United States. It's backed by $10.5 billion of back. They are 30 years of not just parts and guaranteed production, but also labor. These warranties do transfer to the new homeowners for free. So that's why a lot more people are looking at solar houses with solar, because you can sell your home as, look, I don't have an electric bill, and I can prove it to you. So for you guys, a little extra money in your pocket, I'm sure would be not frowned upon. So any of your customers that are interested, like I said, I don't go in and try to sell solar. Just like Chris said, I go in, I ask the homeowner, what is your goals? How long are you going to be there? A lot of people, a lot of realtors I've talked to are saying they're not seeing a lot of homes being sold with solar. They're starting to see more. The reason for that is our #1 question we ask is, how long are you going to be in the home? If they're telling me 1, 2 years, I'm going to tell them, don't do it. It's not worth it. It isn't going to be beneficial enough for you. We're looking for people at least 2 years plus, 3 to 5 or more, because that's where the true benefit to solar comes in, where the money savings comes in. In less special circumstances, people the bigger the bill, obviously, the more money it can save. I had a guy that had a $500 average bill. I saved him almost $200. For somebody like that, it might be worth them doing something less. But in general, I want to make sure this is going to make sense to the homeowner. Otherwise, I'm going to tell them flat out, don't do it. I want to make sure what they want to do for their home, solar will do for them. As Chris has said, there's a lot of misconceptions of solar. There's a lot of things that have happened in the past that have put people kind of questionable about it. That's where I'm here to try and help you guys, because I'm sure your homeowners will have questions. Does anybody have any questions for me? Any concerns, any Yeah, have at it.
Show up late first with a question.
Absolutely.
So biggest question, I'm repeating it for those online. When if you buy a house with solar, when you have to replace the roof, what's their concern? How does that work?
No, that's a great question. It's something I get all the time because one of my questions is, how old is your roof? If your roof is very old, within a couple of years, I tell them get a new roof first. But for your question specifically, our company comes in, we will remove the solar system, we will store it, and every solar system, regardless of the county in the state of Florida, if it's removed, even though it's the same system going back on the same house, it does have to be re-engineered and re-permitted. We will take care of that and then reinstall, and then that warranty will go back into place. That warranty also covers roof penetrations for 30 years. So they don't, that's the other question I get a lot of times with people with brand new roofs is, hey.
So Josh, you told me to put a brand new roof on around my house and you're going to put holes into it to put that solar back on?
Absolutely. Then we're going to cover it for 30 years with labor. So you know you're covered. Mm-hmm. And being that the insurance company that we use, Solar Insure, they aren't part of our company. We have just been vetted by them and allowed to be insured by them. So if our company for some reason ever goes under, they are still insured through Solar Insure. Does not matter. Our company is obviously not going anywhere. At least that's my hope. But we've been around for long enough. We've done enough installs. We're not going anywhere. We were rated by the Inc. 5000 as number 61 largest growing company in the nation last year. So we're still growing. Yes.
Is the warranty transferable?
The warranty is 100% transferable. And the financing that most people go through, you're looking at 1.5% simple interest. No early payoff penalties ever. And you only pay an interest on remaining balance. Those are also transferable to the new homeowner. A lot of my customers that sell their homes are asking me, hey, do I have to pay this off? Is there a lien on my home? There are absolutely no liens on property except for a permit lien from the time we pull the permit till the time we install it. After that, no liens on property. These loans are based on credit, not using the house as collateral. And if I tell people you have one of two choices, either A, list your house for a higher amount and include the solar system as a paid for system. That way it's a little more desirable. Otherwise, you can transfer that loan over. They pick up where you left off, they pay off the remainder, and the system is covered.
Let me ask you a question. How many Teslas do you see on the road? Huh? Really? How many? We see them all. They're all over the place. Compared to you drive fast. Well, everybody's usually staring at your yellow bug. So, but how you see a lot of Teslas on the road? How many did you see 6 years ago? Not a lot, but you see a lot of them on the road now, right? And is a Tesla cost more or less than a Toyota Camry? More. Is it about the same size? Is it? It's about there, depending on the way they're about the same size. Does it do the same thing? Where's the inherent value in a Tesla? The electric, the solar. Then there's also a status symbol that goes along with it too, and you pay more for that. So people are right now. There's people that are specifically looking for homes that have battery packs for cars, solar panels on the roof, smart homes installed, smart refrigerators, all of those things already in the house. There's people looking for that because that's what's coming around. In 5 years, there's going to be a lot more of those installed all over the place. We've already seen a huge increase in the last 3 to 5 years in our area. Every neighborhood you go into, brand new neighborhoods, like homes just being completed, there's solar on probably about 5% of the roofs when you used to never see them. So there's been a huge increase.
And I'm glad you actually brought up batteries. I'll get batteries in there. I do not work with PACE. I don't do Y Green. I don't do Renew. We stick to the two main companies that we deal with, Sunlight Financial and Goodly. Because of the interest rates they allow and the way it kind of works, you can use, if the homeowner does get a PACE loan on their own, they can use that money naturally.
Just keep that closer.
Yep. Anybody else got any questions?
Now, you did say it's a transferable warranty. Is it only transferable at the first sale? Can it transfer multiple times? Like if I buy a home, put solar on it, and I sell it to somebody, I can transfer it to them. If they sell their home, can they transfer that warranty over?
It can be transferred up to 2 times.
2 times?
For free. After that, it can be transferred. There's a small cost.
Okay.
Like I was saying with batteries, something kind of exciting. Is everybody kind of familiar with how solar works going back and forth with the grid?
Now, why
Tico,
don't you explain a little bit of
real
that?
quick,
Too?
basically, in the state of Florida, you do have to stay connected to the grid at all times. It is a state law. What we use is what's called net metering. Basically, sun hits a solar panel, goes down to a two-way meter, and then it goes out to the electric supplier and then back to the home. During the day, you're producing all that you need for a full 24-hour period. So you're producing more than you can use. All the extra goes back onto the grid, and figure like Tico. We'll store it for you. Think of it like a battery pack. When you go back and forth with Tico, what's very important to know is that it is not dollar for dollar. It is watt for watt. If you produce 100 extra kilowatts and when you need it back, it's coming back at the kilowatt rate, not at their dollar for dollar rate. That's how you avoid paying any of their increases or paying their rates at all. Now, being that you can go back and forth with them, if the grid goes down, inherently you lose power. You can't just use your solar panels to power your home if the sun is shining. At least that was the case up until January of this year. Enphase is one of the major companies. It's the top company for the inverters for the solar system. They came out with a system that turns your house into a microgrid. So if the grid is down, your house will run as long as the sun is going right off of your solar panels alone. They can incorporate batteries in there. That's a big concern for a lot of people because they want to know that if a hurricane comes through or if something happens where they lose power for days, they can still use their solar panels. It's nice that now Enphase has done that. They're the first company to do it as of January. People are very excited about it. You can incorporate batteries into this as well. So during the day, say you're out of power for 4 days. The sun is shining, you're running off your solar panels, not off of your battery. At night, you'll run off the battery. During the day, those solar panels will charge the battery again. And you continue to work that way. That way, you don't need as large of a battery bank as you normally would. That was the biggest problem with batteries. I never recommended batteries before this, unless it was very specific circumstances that was what was important to the homeowner, strictly for multiple reasons. One of the misconceptions about batteries, part of the problem is Tesla, the way they advertise it. Batteries cannot run an HVAC system. They can't handle the amperage upload when the HVAC goes from off to on. It drains the batteries almost immediately, if they can even handle that. So HVAC's off limits. Can't happen with batteries, even with the new battery systems. It can run mini splits, it can run window shakers, but it cannot run HVACs. The other problem is storage capacity. Tesla, for instance, everybody knows it. Their one battery, the big 5-foot tall, 3-foot wide battery, one pack will hold 13.2 kilowatts of usable energy. Nobody I've ever been in their house is using 13 kilowatts a day. You're up in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Even without your AC, you're looking at possibly 1 day, and you're relying on a recharge. Our biggest problem in Florida is we're worried about hurricanes. Hurricane comes in, you're going to get a couple of days of clouds more than likely, and you might get some clouds after. So you can't rely on that recharge, which requires a very large income input to get a large enough battery system to get multiple days without being able to recharge your batteries with a microgrid. That was the main reason that I always, at least was very honest to like, I'll tell you what it can and can't do. If you still want it, okay, then we'll talk about it. But in general, cost to benefit ratio just wasn't there. Plus, they're only warranted for about 10 years. Now, with our 30-year warranty, it also covers batteries, which is a big deal. Because just like our cell phones, as you use them, the charge gets slower and slower and slower. If they don't perform to where they need to be, our insurance company will replace them with brand new for no cost, no labor, no nothing. So it changes the game a little bit for a lot of people. Like I said, it all depends on what your homeowner is, their main goals for their houses. They want to just save money on their electric bill, don't bother with batteries. If you want to be off grid where you know that you don't have to rely on the electric company, if they go down, that's something different. Now, does anybody else have any questions? I know a lot of people have heard a lot of stuff about solar. I want to make sure that everybody's cool about
it. How much do you get involved with the tax credit discussion with the homeowner?
I will go all the way until they have questions I cannot answer. Basically, you are looking at a 26% federal tax credit. This is a credit. This is not a write-off. So this is the best that you can get. This credit will roll to multiple years. So if you can't take all of it the first year, you can roll it or use it however it best benefits the homeowner and their family. This, I have been able to do it with roofs as well, depending on how it's wrapped in. But in general, it's meant for the solar system. Now, even the financing gives them a 1.5 years worth of what they call a grace period, where they assume the tax credit has already been given, and allows them to pay the lower rate, giving them the chance to pay back as little or as much as they would like in the first year and a half. And then it's re-amortized for free to reflect what they have or have not paid back. That every single financing company with solar does this. And this is because you can use this tax credit multiple years. It wants to give them enough time to be able to get at least 1 or 2 tax periods in to pay back this 26%, because that's what the government is giving it to you for. Now, 1.5% at a 25-year loan, simple interest. Some people want to use it for other things, home improvements, vacation, Tesla, whatever. But it gives them that time.
Cool.
Any other questions, guys?
Anything online? If you go ahead.
It really depends on the electric supplier. With last year's rates with TECO and FPL, it was right around that 8 to 10 year mark. With Duke, because their rates were significantly higher, they were right around that 7 to 8 year mark. But with these raises in electricity, like I said, Duke didn't go up, but maybe 2 or 3%, but they're already about 30% higher than anybody else. So it really wasn't a big change. 18%, like I said, 18% with TECO this year and 20% over the next 2 to 3 years with FPL. That's going to change that break even.
What's an average cost of a system for, I know it's going to be dependent on the size of the home, the amount of electricity they want to offset, how many panels it's going to be. But if you were talking to, like, our average price right now is about $330,000, 330 to 350. That'll get you about a 1,700 to 1,900 square foot home, 3 or 4 bedroom, and your electric bill for a newer home is probably in the $100 a month range. What's a system like that going to be to kind of offset their bill, or how much would something like that cost?
Well, when you're looking at what we look at is, I don't look at size of home. I don't look at any of that, because it's all based on the kilowatt usage of the home. That's what we're looking to trade in and make sure we're producing enough power for. Your typical home that their bill is between 100 to 140, you're talking about a system that before tax credit is between $30,000 and $40,000, depending on what they want to do. Obviously, after the tax credit, that's going to change it a little bit. But in general, when it comes to savings immediately, I'm looking at a 20 to 45% savings in their electric bill, depending on the amount they pay. Obviously, if you have a $500 electric bill, I'm going to save you more because it extrapolates out differently. $100 to $140 bill, I'm saving people roughly about $20 a month this year. Obviously, as the rates for the electric company go up, your rates do not. So your savings increase year after year. Then after, depending on how you run the loan, most people are 25 years. After you're 25, you own the system. It's still insured.
So you're saving them about 20 to 40 bucks a month with the, not just off their electric, that's including their payment for the program and the electric bill after that. That's what they're saving. And once they pay off the loan, then they'll be saving even more.
Yes. With the electric bill, if we're looking at 100% offset. Now, I'm going to be real honest. Not every home, it makes sense. Not every home is going to qualify. I mean, when you're looking at a 2-story home, you're looking at twice the square footage under a half the square footage roof. It's all based on direction of facing, the amount of room I have to put solar panels up there. Some homes I can only get an 80% offset. Some homes I can get 200%, which is not, I'll only go to about 108. Anything more than that isn't worth your dime. It takes too long to pay back those extra ones. But when it comes down to it, you're looking at, with the electric bill, if I'm completely covering your electric bill, you keep your usage the same. The only thing you pay is the top line of the bill, which is a connection charge. I believe TECO last year was $1,505. You have to pay that regardless. That is what you pay them to use their meters, their wires, their infrastructure. It varies with electric company. I think FPL was $13 and Duke was about 8.5 to 9. I know that probably changed this year. TECO went up to change it to 70 cents a day, so 17 to 20 bucks. That's all you will pay to TECO as long as you don't increase your power. Obviously, I build a system and you increase your power by 50%, the system needs to be bigger. They're not magic. As long as you keep using power, you only pay the electric company that connection fee. That's it. You take the rest of that money and that goes towards the loan that you have to own the system that produces your power. So you're trading a bill for an investment on your home. That's the basic idea of it. Now, like I said, when I met with a couple yesterday, their bill average was $124. Their payment to the solar system came out to $98. So obviously with TECO, You're looking at another 20 bucks. They're about break even this year. But would you rather pay $120 a rent or $120 a mortgage? Where's the smarter money? Not to mention, when they increase their rates, they will start saving money. Once the system is paid off, they own the system that produces their power. They only pay for the connection fee to be on the net meter. That's it.
What's the life expectancy of a system?
40 to 50 years, depending on the panels you use. Panels I'm using right now are RECs. They are the best panel rated as of 2022. After 20 years, they're still at 92% efficiency from day one. The maximum degradation of a panel per year, on average of top tier panels, you're talking Panasonics, LGs, Silfabs, those are all considered top tier. It's about 0.5% a year. RECs are at 0.25% a year. And the 30-year production guarantee, as long as they keep their trees trimmed, is if their production drops, their panels are replaced by the warranty. So even after the warranty's done, you're still looking at probably another 10 to 20 years, depending on the panel itself and the inverter. Anybody else?
Any other questions? That the question is,
Absolutely.
Are there times when the electric company will end up owing you?
And that's actually how these systems are built. Because obviously here in Florida, during the wintertime, we're using less and we go up about 150% in the summertime. Sometimes more depending on if you have a pool, things like that. Now, these systems are built to run for the full 12 months. And we're looking at total usage for the year. So during the wintertime, when you overproduce, like I said, you're going back and forth with the grid, you're banking all these extra kilowatts with TECO or your power supplier. During the summertime, you're probably going to underproduce slightly, depending on the size of your system. But instead of paying them, they're going to pull the needed kilowatts that you underproduce for out of that bank at a kilowatt per kilowatt basis, so you even out. Now, at the end of the year, if you overproduce from what you use, every company is a little different, but every company gives you the option to A, roll those kilowatts to next year, or B, be paid out for them. Now, when they pay you out, it is at a wholesale rate. It's between 3 and 5 cents a kilowatt. That's why I never overbuild the system. That's why I was saying it takes too long to pay back those extra panels. It's just not worth the time. Does that kind of answer your question? Perfect.
Any other questions? So I've got some info, hard copies in the room. I'm going to send an email out to the team after the meeting with Josh's contact information, and the same PDFs that you have in here will be attached to the email. You said that you have a program, a referral program for sending somebody a client that they could get up to $1,000 per referral if they sign up with the system. How would they go about doing that? How would they go about referring you? What's the easiest or best way to do that?
Best way is Chris is going to give you my email. Send me an email with your name, your phone number, and your email. What I will do is sign you up into our platform. It's called the Ambassador Program. You'll get an email and it'll just say accept. You accept it, and then you can either plug in these referrals straight through the platform and they will go directly to me, or you can just call me, give the information of your customer, or have the customer call me. If a customer calls me, I will always ask who referred you, and then I can plug it in. As soon as the system is installed, which takes in Hillsborough County roughly a month, because it is an over-the-counter permit one day. Once that system's installed, you will receive a check from Power for the $1,000. And I know there's absolutely no limit. Our company has, one of my friends has a lady that has over 3 years referred 28 people. She paid for her system plus some money. She was head of the HOA, so of course she had a little in, but she capitalized.
Any other questions? Good information to know. Yeah, I mean, the more information you have, the more valuable you become. So the whole point is to become the most valuable person in your farm, in your niche, in your sphere, in your neighborhood. Be the most valuable person to the people around you. And the more information you have, the more resources you have, the more valuable you become.
And use me as a resource. I'm going to leave my cards, take my number, whatever. If any of your people have questions, call me. That's what I'm here for. I want to make sure everybody understands everything. I never want to go through with anything. And if there's a lingering question or concern out there, I want everybody to be comfortable before anything gets moved forward.
So the question was, you need you got someone that wants solar but also needs a new roof because the roof is old, you have relationships to be able to coordinate the two together.
Absolutely. I work with Gale Force Roofing out of Brandon. I also, my manager actually works with another company out of Sarasota. And Gale Force is a phenomenal company. They are rated, highly rated. They always overbuild their roofs. I made sure that the company I work with doesn't make me look bad. Obviously, the same thing you guys want to make sure any referrals you send to somebody, they don't make you look bad or mess up your relationships. And like you said, you can wrap that in. And so that financing can take care of the roof as well. Yep, absolutely.
And sometimes you said you can get the full credit on the total amount of the roof. Officially, no.
But yes, because it's wrapped into the solar system, they just look at it as the total on the solar system loan. There's a 26% tax credit on that.
Gotcha.
So if I put the roof in there, you're getting a 26% federal tax credit on that as well.
Now, the difference with the PACE loan and a private loan that they go through, the PACE loan cannot be transferred over to a new borrower. It can be, but no, you're going to have a hard time selling a property and transferring a loan to a new buyer. Because if I'm buying a home and my mortgage company, Mike's getting me a loan, Mike has a mortgage company, they're going to give me a loan. And I'm saying, no, I'm going to assume their loan that they have, the PACE loan that they have on the home they already have. So the current seller's mortgage company is in first lien holder position. The PACE loan is in second position. The minute this loan gets paid off from the seller, this one jumps into first place. And my mortgage company that I'm buying the home with is going to be in second place. Who wants to give a $300,000 loan and be in second place behind a $20,000 solar loan? Nobody. So sometimes you'll have issues. So with a private loan, that's something that can be a little more beneficial because they're not using the home as collateral. Well, honestly, what I did with each time that I've sold a property with solar is we structured the sale of the property. We figured out, okay, what I went in, I found is every home that sold with solar, found every home in that neighborhood that sold without solar within the last 30 days that was similar to it, figured out how much more people were willing to pay for solar, did a pricing that way. Then I went through and did the 4% and did a pricing that way. Then we went and we said, Mr. Seller, what do you want? He went that way. So we put it up at a higher price and we actually got multiple offers and sold it. I probably would have listed it in the 465 to 475 range with the anticipation a buyer was going to pay closer to 500 because of desirability. We listed it at 489 or 485 and we sold it at 500. So, I mean, the people are seeing the value in it. And the other one was the same thing. It sold for about $20,000 to $40,000 more than what the market I felt would have bared with adding in value. I took the property sale, added in value, and it still sold for $20,000 to $40,000 more. Yeah. I'm sorry. It depends. One of them did, the other one didn't. So one of them didn't appraise, but we had in place that the buyer was going to pay that value. So the buyer can go and get a loan if they wanted to afterwards and put some more money back in their pocket, get a private loan, do whatever they wanted. But they ended up saying that they would pay the difference. The one that sold for 500 appraised at 478. So it was 4% higher than where my comps were in the 460-ish range, and 4% over that is about $20,000, and it appraised about $20,000 higher. So, Mike. Yep. Oh yeah. If you're picking up a loan on it, you're not going to get the same value from the appraiser as if it's already going to be paid off and included. The question is, what about the CD? I'm just online for online. What about the CDD issues and everything? What else? Putting the panels on. And do you run into issues with CDDs and HOAs telling you that you can't put a certain amount of panels, you can't put them here, can't put them there, can't do this, can't do that?
Per Florida solar power laws, they cannot tell you no for any reason. The only thing they can do is they can say, hey, we don't want it on this side, you have to put it on this side. But per the state laws, if the production from the place the roof array that they're trying to move goes to a lower production roof array, they're not allowed to do that either. So if we have a south facing array, which happens to be the front of the house, and they're like, nope, put it on the back, which is north, you're talking like a 13 to 15% drop in production they can't do that. We haven't run into many HOAs that have had a problem. Our company does take care of the HOAs for them, but just because we know the laws, we can, if we get anybody with a puffy chest, we can just send them the laws and go, there you go.
And that's something that this was probably 8 to 10 years ago, and I was talking with somebody. This was actually at the Hard Rock, and the lady was saying the same thing. This is when solar was just starting to get out. And I said, well, what about HOAs? And she said they can't do anything about it. We've had multiple times. We've gone to them and we've shown them, print it out, send it over to them. Here's the law. You can't tell us no because of this, 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 and this. You know, please feel free to look into it further, and they put it up.
Slightly, yes. When I started 3 years ago, panels were producing about 315 to 320 watts each. Now they produce 400. That's in a 30 to 40 panel system. That's 1 to 2 panels. It's not a huge increase just because the new technology isn't going towards making panels that much better. The panels are about as good as they're going to get with the elements they use. They're using the innovations are going more towards using that technology and putting it into other things, such as there's a company that's working on clear window film for skyscrapers, things like that. That's where more of the technology innovations are going now. That and making batteries better. Good question?
Is it good for just a pool? Would you recommend? Well, those are different systems. Those are like, if you're talking about a pool, he would say it would be, can I put a couple panels on my house that'll run my pool pump and actually power the pool pump so I don't have to pay the extra cost? The solar things that are for pools just have water running through the rubber panels.
Yeah.
Those aren't.
Avoid those like the plague. Absolutely avoid those like the plague, just because in Florida, the sun is so hot. Those basically how those work is you're pumping water from your pool up onto your roof through small channels, letting the sun heat it and pumping it back to your pool. After a couple of years, those are going to get brittle, they're going to crack, and now you're pumping water onto your roof.
They're going to leak.
I have seen so many we've had to replace. Pertaining to this question is, you can't just put it solar on and go, I want this to run my AC, or I want this to run my pool, because it is hooked up to your meter. So you're looking at general usage. I can look at it and go, all right, your pool usage is typically 15% or 10%, and put a system that covers that. But that's not really the best way to go. You're looking at total power. Your money savings is the more coverage I can get, the more money you're saving in total on your bill. Because right now, I mean, I can lock people in at about 9 to 10 cents a kilowatt with what they pay for solar, and that will never change. Where Tico is now at 12 to 13, Duke is at about 14 and a half. You know, so that's where your money savings comes in. Anybody else? Yeah, what's up? That's 100% correct. Every home in California is required to have solar. I believe they're requiring a 5 kilowatt system, which is going to be a partial use system for every home out there. But that is required per state law in California. Eventually, yes, because the biggest problem is, you had mentioned electric cars earlier. If someone gets an electric car, which most people have 2 cars, but if we figure one, the average family's increase in their power usage is going to go up 4,000 kilowatts in a year. That's the average increase. If every family household has an increase of 4,000 kilowatts to their household, our lines and transformers can't handle that. They can't handle that kind of increased production nationwide. So they're relying on the production on people's roofs to help substitute that.
So basically, if they're looking for more renewables resources to power things, you're going to have to make it just like they did in California.
It's going to be
a requirement for new construction.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And I mean, why buy an electric car to save energy when you're charging it off dirty energy, coal, and whatever? You're still getting the same power from Tico, and they're using coal and whatever to give you that energy. So it kind of negates the whole electric car thing if you're doing it for environmental purposes. Anybody else?
Cool.
All right. If anything comes up, like I said, I'm going to leave my cards. Don't hesitate to reach out. I want to make sure I can answer everybody's questions.
Yeah, I'll send an email out to the team for everybody online, so you'll have contact information for Josh. Said, and we'll have some cards to give out. So if you have anything at all, like I said, he's a great resource, always willing to help.
And if you guys want information for, I don't know if you do closing packets for your homeowners or whatever, if you want information, let me know. I can print it out, have it sent to Chris, and you guys can have it for whatever. whatever's going to help you for current and past customers. I appreciate the time, guys.
Cool. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, happy Tuesday. Have a wonderful day. Appreciate it. We went a little bit longer, but I think it was very good information to really help you out.